Ever since the day in second grade when Gianna showed me how to jump off the top of a moving swing, we have been best friends. Over the years, we hung out almost every weekend. Then in seventh grade, Gianna moved into the house next door, and we hung out almost every day after school. We loved all the seasons, but winter was definitely our favorite. Gianna's house was perfect for the winter because it was at the top of a massive hill with a small stream and a large pond surrounded by woods down below. We both loved when it snowed. Snowball fights, huge forts, and snowman building, we did it all, but sledding was the most popular. The giant hill wasn't enough for Gianna to sled on, so she created extreme sledding, for which we had to build a jump out of snow to send us flying over the stream at the bottom. Without parental supervision, of course. Her mom was too busy inside watching reruns of The Kardashians or The View. One freezing cold Saturday in January of our 8th grade year, we woke up to a fresh blanket of snow over the ground. The snow was glittering in the sun and just calling for us to come outside. Gianna and I bundled up in tons of layers because the temperature outside was an extremely low 20 degrees. We grabbed our trusty plastic disc sleds that were waiting for us by the door and went outside. The snow was absolutely perfect, not too powdery, but not too icy, and there was not a cloud in sight. Perfect for sledding, G, I said joyfully, while putting on my Red Bull beanie and letting my long straight hair fall on my back.
And for building crazy big jumps at the bottom.
She replied, of course. Gianna always looked to the more extreme side of things. We ran down to the bottom of the hill to begin building the jump. Gianna looked up and stared in the distance towards her pond. She got the look in her eyes that I knew far too well. She had an idea. It didn't take long for her to shout,
Bridget, the pond, it's frozen.
I looked up and stared in the direction of the pond. The typical murky brown, semi-gross water had turned into ice, and the pond looked breathtaking with the snow-covered trees as a backdrop. I've never seen it completely frozen. It's so pretty, I replied. In the 5 winters I had been hanging out at her house, the pond had never looked quite as beautiful as it did that day.
Screw the jump for now. We are going skating.
Skating in our boots?
Hold on, let me just pull skates out of the snow. Yes, our boots. Let's go.
Alright, but are you sure it's frozen enough?
Yeah, it's frozen solid. It was 3 degrees last night. Come on, we're going.
She grabbed my jacket and dragged me behind her as she ran over to her pond. The light snow was crunching under our boots. We got to the edge of the ice. It looked solid enough to me. What was that rule about ice? I thought. I had learned the correct thickness of ice in order to walk on it once while watching the Discovery Channel. What is it? Whatever. It looks pretty thick. Gianna looked at me, her facial expression telling me to go first. I knew she was right. I had to go first. I had always been the lighter one. We were the same height, but I was more of a twig, and she was more of a normal girl.
Come on, you have to go first. I want to, but if it doesn't hold you, it doesn't hold me.
Okay. But if I fall through and ruin my new boots, you better start running.
You aren't going to fall through. I mean, it's solid ice. Just go.
I stepped my brown sorrel boot onto the edge of the ice and put all my weight on one leg. The ice had no complaint. My other foot followed, and still I was safe from the freezing cold water below. With that, I was on the ice. It's fine. I don't even hear it creaking, I told Gianna, who was still safe on solid ground.
Jump on it. We need to make sure. You weigh 2 pounds.
Are you crazy? I don't weigh 2 pounds.
But still, way less than me. Jump.
I looked down at my feet and the frosted ice below. Gianna is actually crazy. If I fall through, no, I don't think it's possible for me to fall through. I tensed my legs and I jumped. I landed, and to my surprise, the ice held. There wasn't even a crack showing. I looked at Gianna. Is that good enough for you? Before I could even finish my sentence, Gianna ran onto the ice.
Yes, this is so cool.
We slid around on the ice at the edge of the pond for a while. and we both fell a few times, but the ice held solid. After falling for the third time, Gianna stood up and looked where she fell.
Nothing. This ice must be so thick. I bet we can go all the way across. Want to race to either side?
Yeah, but what about your mom? When we're in the middle of the pond, she will be able to see us from the living room window.
Do you think she will care or even notice? Hold on, let me check what time it is.
Gianna pulled out her phone.
Come on, you dumb phone. Unlock. I hate this phone. Okay, there we go. It's 10:30. She's caught up in the dramatic lives of the Kardashians right now, and then after that, The View is on. She's not leaving her room for a while. We are fine.
Gianna put her phone back into her pant pocket. The ice was solid, and there was nothing to be afraid of, but I had the worst luck. I kept envisioning falling through into the ice-cold water.
Bridget, hello. Come on, countdown.
Oh, okay, sorry. 3, 2, 1, go! I started moving my legs as fast as I could. I quickly checked behind me to make sure Gianna was going, and she was. She was trying to beat me, but I was way faster, and I kicked it into overdrive. I quickly got a huge lead. I was right in the center of this pond, now flying across the ice. I looked down while still speeding. I could see right through the ice in the center.
Wait, that's the rule. In order to be able to stand on the ice, you aren't supposed to be able to see through it.
I heard the ice creak. I swear, I've never ran as fast as I did then. I kept going until the ice wasn't see-through anymore. I was safe, and then I remembered.
Gianna!
I skidded to a stop and then whipped my head around. Gianna! I shouted in pure panic mode. She was just reaching the center of the ice. She slowed down and looked at me, confusion on her face. That confusion changed to terror as the ice moaned and then gave under her. She screeched as she plunged into the 20-degree water. Oh my God, Gianna, I'm coming now. I screamed, even though she couldn't hear me. She was completely underwater. I started sprinting towards the middle.
Where is she? Oh my god, she's going to die. She's going to die, and it's all my fault. We are so stupid.
My thoughts were racing as I neared the center. I saw the top of her head. Her typically brown hair turned black from the water as she resurfaced. Gianna! I shouted, relieved, but only for a second, as I realized she was soaked in water and it was 20 degrees out. I tried to push that out of my mind. I got closer, and I realized her lips were already blue, and she was shaking like she was in an earthquake.
It is so cold. Help.
She said, trembling. Okay, I'm almost there. Hold on, I answered, still racing towards her. I was 5 feet away from her when my thoughts came back, and I skidded to a stop.
How are you going to get to her? The ice is weak and barely holds you. If you get any closer, you are falling too. But she needs help, and I don't know how, but she is getting out of there. Think.
I remembered the news from last week. There was a story on a man who fell through the ice and was saved by a man who was passing by.
That's it.
Gianna, I'm going to go get a branch from the shore. I'll be right back, I said a lot more calmly than I expected. She nodded, fatigue already removing fear from her face. Luckily, the pond was shaped like an oval, so I ran to the closest shore that had large trees. When I reached the shore, I frantically searched for a branch large enough. I quickly spotted one that was about 4 feet long and thicker than my arm. It would have to do. I picked it up and ran back to Gianna.
We were so dumb to let you come on here. I should have said no.
I reached Gianna, and she looked ready to give up, her eyes drooping. Gianna, take this branch. I slung the branch in her face. She reached her hands out of the water. They were violently shaking, and the tips were turning purple. She grabbed a hold as best as she could. I turned and pulled on the branch, my floral boots' grips really coming in handy, but she was heavy. I pressed on. Finally, Gianna's torso was on the ice. I pulled her as hard as I could for one last time, and she was completely out of the water. Come on, Gianna, stand up. I'll help you, but we need to get to your hot tub. Grab my hand. Come on, you can do this. She was so exhausted. Gianna, your hot tub is right at the top of this hill. Come on, think of being warm again. The word warm was enough. She found new strength, and slowly she stood up. I took most of her weight. Any other day, I would not have been able to hold her, but my adrenaline was doing its job. We started walking slowly towards the shore. Her skin was so cold she felt dead, and her wet ringlet hair was starting to freeze. Her nose was also turning blue. Seeing this caused me to pick up the pace. I started moving faster, and she began to stumble more often. We reached shore, and we were finally on solid ground. I started jogging up the hill towards her house, taking almost all of her weight on my shoulder, because she could barely walk. We were almost at the top of the hill, and Hannah's mom came out on the master room balcony facing the pond, and us. She saw us coming and waved and smiled, not even noticing that her child was half dead on my shoulder.
Hey girls, how's the snow? There's a commercial on right now, so I figured I'd come on to say hi. But this episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians is my favorite. It's the one where Courtney...
I cut her off. Miss Rinaldi, Gianna fell through the ice. We're headed to the hot tub.
Oh my god, are you serious? Yeah, go to the hot tub. Oh my god, that's crazy. I'll meet you down there.
She spun around and ran back in the house. We reached the hot tub, and I threw off the cover. The warm steam came up to my face. It was such a contrast to the freezing cold. I couldn't wait to get inside. I pushed Gianna into the warm water. Gianna's mom reappeared on the back patio.
What happened?
I asked as she ran down the back patio stairs to the hot tub. Gianna fell through the ice, and now she's in the hot tub getting warmer. I answered, meeting her at the bottom of the stairs, attempting to make the situation sound not as horrible as it was.
God, is she okay? Gee, do you need help? I'm trained in first aid. Let me handle this. You go inside.
Gianna's mother told me. Gianna's mother probably took a first aid course for Girl Scouts when she was 10, and now she's convinced she had her MD.
I'm fine, Mom. Stop worrying.
Gianna spoke for the first time. Her mother and I ran over to the hot tub.
Oh, okay. Are you sure?
Gianna's mother asked.
Yes, Mother. Good. Just throw out those clothes, and we will get you new boots. Go into the basement, though, when you're ready. I don't want the new hardwood floors upstairs getting ruined. And there should be some clothes in the laundry room. What about your phone? Oh.
Gianna checked for her phone.
Yeah, I might need a new one. It may have some water damage. Good. Maybe I can get a new one, too, when we get you a replacement. It's freezing out here. I'm going to go make you some hot chocolate.
And with that, Gianna's mother turned and went back inside like nothing had happened. Once she was gone, I turned back to Gianna. Seriously? You basically just died, and she's happy she's getting a new phone? But for real, are you okay?
I know. And yeah, I'm fine. But hey, I can get an iPhone now.
Yes, and you can finally read my emojis.
Oh my god, yeah. This is going to be great. Your hot chocolate is ready. I'm going back upstairs. My show's back on.
Gianna's mom called down from the deck. We both rolled our eyes. Ready to go inside? I asked Gianna.
Yeah, but you heard my mom. Go in through the basement.
Okay, I said, laughing, but we are never going in that pond again. Promise?
Hell no. Next time, we just wait until it freezes a little more.
I rolled my eyes and slid the glass door aside. I think some brain cells are still frozen. And we walked inside. The next winter was even colder, and when a sheet of ice covered the pond again, we found ourselves at the edge. But first, we made sure it was actually thick enough. Then we were back on it. But even Gianna refused to travel to the middle. She didn't want her iPhone to have the same fate as her last.